Hello, all you big, beautiful brains out there. Today, we're going to talk about heuristics. Before we get started, take a minute to subscribe to Psy vs. Psy, help out your friendly neighborhood psychologist while I tell you all about heuristics. So, what is a heuristic? A heuristic is just a big fancy word that means a general rule we use to solve a problem. Some people might call it a rule of thumb. When you have a problem to solve, sometimes there are just basic guides or heuristics you can follow to help you figure it out. Heuristics can be really useful. They save a lot of mental energy and they're usually right because we base them off things we've already learned. But sometimes heuristics can be bad, for instance, when we overgeneralize solutions. Also, since heuristics are fairly easy to use, we tend to rely on them more when our brains are already overworked or stressed, which can lead to bad decision making. Let's take a look at some of the different kinds of heuristics so you can get an idea of the types that we use every day. One type of heuristic is working backwards. This is when you picture the end or the solution to the problem and then work your way back. I used to use this one to solve mazes when I was little. You start at the end, you work your way back to the beginning. I was totally a cheater. Every day, we actually use this one a lot to solve math and scheduling problems. For instance, if you know you need to be at work by 4 o'clock, you need to work back. Add in 30 minutes drive time, 10 minutes to stop and get a coffee, so that you know you need to leave by 3:20. In availability heuristic, the more available something is, or the easier it is to remember, you will judge that thing more likely. For instance, during Shark Week, a lot of people won't go to the beach. Now, you're no more likely to get attacked by a shark during that time, but it's easier to remember not to go to the ocean if you've been watching shark attacks all week. Your brain is basically mixing up easy to remember with true. For instance, if you see video on the news of people traveling for the holidays, then it seems like everyone is traveling. That's the availability heuristic in action. You've just seen it, so you think it's true for everyone. But the news doesn't show you all the pictures of the people who just stayed home. That would mean the news going into people's houses and just filming them sitting around. That's a slow news day. Let's talk about the representativeness heuristic. When we place things into categories to help us make a decision or solve a problem, that's called representativeness. One thing representing all the others. For instance, if I told you someone was really shy and quiet and loved to read, and then asked you to either put them in the category of librarian or rock star, most of us would probably go with librarian. Quiet, shy, loves books, sounds more like a librarian. The representativeness heuristic can be really bad, though, when it leads us to this type of bias and stereotype. Going to the example from before, you don't necessarily have to be quiet and shy to be a librarian. Maybe you're really loud and outgoing, and those skills make you great at connecting people with books that might be right for them. Also, just because you're quiet and shy doesn't mean you can't be a rock star. For instance, one of my favorite rock stars of all time was notoriously extremely introverted and shy, Prince. The last one we'll talk about is the effect heuristic. When you try to solve a problem based on a gut feeling or have your emotions help you decide, that's called the effect heuristic. Effect means the impact or influence something has based on emotion. For instance, when you stand in the kitchen trying to decide what you want to eat, you might make a decision based on what food makes you feel better rather than what food is probably better and healthier for your body. If you want to know more shortcuts your brain takes to help you make decisions, make sure you subscribe to Psy vs. Psy so you can get all of our other videos and you can learn all about the science of psychology. Until next time, keep thinking, and I'll see y'all later. Bye! So, the effect heuristic leads to me standing in the kitchen eating gummy bears. Yeah, definitely the best heuristic.